Hello and good morning, you two. How are you doing?
Hey, good. Good to see you or hear you.
Hello, Aaron.
You guys, I've experienced this movie, The Secret Art of Human Flight. There is something in this movie that has been with me now for a week. I saw it a week ago and I still can't shake it.
Yes, tell us more.
Well, I think it's more than just about human loss. I think it's about any type of struggle that we have in our life that, it could be a dream that's gone awry. It could be, the loss of a career. I mean, you can relate so much with what's going on here, and we all want answers, and we want physical answers. And Paul, I think that you are that physical answer in so many ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was talking about the character Mealworm. It's very close to me because when I moved to Los Angeles in '89, I'm trying to get a career, trying to become an actor or have some kind of fame or money, and you're going around the circle, and this phenomenon came up of life coaches. For $40 a week or a couple of meetings a week, you can pay this life coach, and they have all the answers. And you find yourself going to spiritual centers and meeting guys, and I'm not making this up, like Mealworm, who dress like Mealworm, who have the chains and the robes, and they have the answers. And you pay these guys $150 for an hour for them to just sit with you, and you're not even saying anything. You're just meditating. Mm-hmm. And Mealworm, there's a million of these guys. It's like when you get working in a church or a spiritual center situation, and you become part of it, the fabric of it. You work there almost every day, working on yourself, and you see how the sausage is made. And these guys that you're looking to the answers for are pretty flawed themselves. They're looking for the answer. So that's why I love Mealworm. There's a million of these guys in Los Angeles, and that's who he is.
Well, Grant, being one who got real close to someone who has traveled, I mean, you had to have learned something because Paul says some pretty good stuff in this movie.
Oh yeah. Well, it's the script by Jesse Orenshine. I read this thing. Oh man, I'm trying to remember. Probably about 4 years ago now, and it's when I'm not a big woo-woo guy, Arrow, but it was like this thing found me just when I needed it. I love what you said about law. It's like any kind of loss. It's the loss of. It could be grief can be mourning the loss of a relationship. It can be the loss of a home, the loss of a job. It can be anything. And when that happens, you feel any sort of personal destabilization. You do look for answers. And this script found me really in a moment like that, and has sort of been my panacea. It's really it's pulled me up and pulled me out, and the movie has been my mealworm.
Yeah.
And then I got a Paul with it too, and an H.P. Mendoza, who's the auteur.
That's the thing about grief and grieving. The process. It is a process, and I think the thing that strikes me about this script and the movie that it turned into is there's no one way to grieve, and you want to help somebody so bad sometimes who's in pain. But there's no one way. You have to let them grieve, go through their own process and discover their own process. That's what I love about this thing. And this guy wants to fly. And I love that scene where you're telling your sister, yes, I'm learning to fly. I need
this.
I need it. And that is so beautiful. If you need it, then go for it. Don't let anybody tell you what to do about anything. And I like what you're talking about. You can grieve the loss of a career or a job or a situation. It's your process. Grieve.
It applies. It really applies. And the big part for me, a big motivating factor to just get this movie made was I just wanted it to exist. I wanted this movie to exist and be there for whoever needs it as many times as you need it, whenever you need it. I just want it to be one of those things that people, they find it and they go, boy, am I glad I'm glad it exists. Yeah. So I hope other people feel that way too.
Yeah. I was going to talk to you about the long tour that this movie has been on, and you're talking about those 4 years. The average viewer does not understand that was 4 years you're not getting back.
No matter how hard we try.
But in that 4 year period, though, it's about talking about the process, but it's about the people you meet along the way to get it done. These are people that you're going to be in contact with forever, just about.
I love that about making movies. I really do. It's an adventure every time, and there are jobs that you do that you clock in, you clock out, and there's a lot of there's a lot of merit to that too. But with what we do, it is life changing every time. Every time I get the privilege of making a movie, I learn and I grow, and it takes me somewhere new. And the people who enter my existence and enter my sphere of influence, it's amazing. I love that we get to do this, that I get to do this.
Well, they always say that it takes a miracle to make a movie. I'm feeling that you guys just went through a miracle.
I'm going through it now. It's still going.
At the same time, working on the next miracle. It's like you're always
in the market for another miracle. Very, very available for whatever miracle anybody wants.
Listeners need to understand that this is not a Debbie Downer movie. This movie really has something in it. Even though we are talking about, the departure of somebody or the loss of somebody, it's not about that at all. There's more to this movie than just being that.
Yeah. Yeah, I always think about there's comedy everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta find it when you're in grief. I remember when I was in high school, one of our very good friends from our baseball team drowned, and me and my cousin were best friends with this guy. And I'll never forget, we were freshmen, and we went into it was very an upsetting experience. We went into the bathroom, and we were peeing at the urinal. And we just started laughing so hard because it was absurd. And we immediately felt horribly guilty because our buddy Danny Rock was laying out in the coffin right in the next room.
God.
But we were so grief-stricken that we started laughing. And I know this sounds crazy, but it's the first thing I'm thinking of is because you're saying it's a movie about grief. Oh, I don't want to go see that. Well, there are some things people go through that will make you laugh. And if you think about it, emotions run so high and they're so closely knit together. The black and the white, the sorrow and the pain and the joy there's such a fine line between all of it. You got to go see this movie for that reason alone.
Paul, he made this movie, and he also has this other movie, Sing Sing. And we were just at the New York premiere of that last night, and I'm jealous, man. You get to do these two movies, and it's just so they're both so human. And the thing about human is that we don't. There's no tone to humanity. It's you're laughing one second, and then the next, like you said, you're crying, and it's all sort of mixed up and lifelike. And I love movies that make me feel everything. With the director H.P. Mendoza and I first started talking about the movie, we're talking about, what genre is this? And we sort of said, let's forget that. Let's forget genre. It's not really about that. It's about creating an emotional cocktail that people have not experienced before. And I think my theory is that's probably, hopefully why it's stuck with you, is because it's just something new. When you experience a lot of the same, your body sort of goes on autopilot. And then when you experience something new and you don't know quite what to do with it, how to process, do I like this? Do I not like this? It's not even really about that as much as it is just about absorbing something new and processing that.
Man, I'll tell you what, when you guys went to Tribeca, that had to be a moment because the entire gang was there.
Yeah. Well, like I said, being in Los Angeles all this time and coming to New York, like I should do New York way more often. It's just a shot in the arm. It's beautiful. And so being a Tribeca with this movie is a dream come true because you really want so many people to see this this piece of love that you made, and New York is the place to be.
And I'm a native New Yorker, so yeah. So it was big. It was a big thing. I went to school here and went to film school here too. So getting to premiere it on home turf. The theater that we premiered at was the same theater that I saw a lot of very important movies to me growing up. So getting to play there was also just the best.
The balance between the comedy, drama, and fantasy. I mean, comedians spend a long time crafting their jokes out. How were you guys able to really put this together?
Well, you can read any script, and then when you see the final product, you go, what happened to, because things kind of like are very malleable as you're going along the way. You make discoveries as you're going along the way. So I think this whole cast was just so, again, we were living on a Boy Scout camp together during the pandemic. So we were forced to be together and forced to test every day for COVID. So that really brings a crew together in a way like none other. So that really lended itself to the ensemble feeling of the movie.
One of the things that takes place inside this movie is something that I can relate with because I'm a third-degree black belt in martial arts, and that is the way that Paul trains Grant in this movie. And I mean, there's some hardcore running in this movie, and Paul, you never gave up on him once in this. And I mean, was that because in the spiritual journey, you were trying to get him to listen to his mind, body, and soul, and to create that conversation with that body?
Yeah, that's absolutely it right there, Earl. And he's got this regimen that he's going to put you through. And that is so what these gurus do. I have the answer, my grasshopper, and you have to do this. He's got to shave the hair off his body. He's got to only eat this and only eat that for a certain amount of time. All these rules that, and he's made up this manifesto to teach you how to fly. So it's amazing. It's the guy really puts him through the test here, which is what, as I said, when you meet these guys, these life coaches, these gurus, I'll do anything. I'll do anything you want. That's how desperate people are when you run into these coaches or when you're chasing your dream. How much is it going to cost me to get my dream?
Yeah. So did you lose all that weight, Grant?
So the funny thing about the movie is we only had a month to make it. So we had to mostly just fake it. It was, it was a lot of, I was sort of in kind of like nothing shape, I wasn't really working out, but I was like, it was I would call it like skinny fat.
Okay.
So, it was a lot of like posture, just having to change the posture and, but I did ultimately, like when you do that much running, which I did have to do that much running, you do lose the weight and I'd lose it really fast. But the problem was I didn't actually have the time to get in shape for the running because I had to still look a little, I still had to have some weight on me. So I ended up just like the running really hurt. Because I just couldn't prep properly. Normally it's like, all right, well, I'm going to get I don't know, like a running coach or something and do that. But I ended up pulling my quad really bad.
Oh, no.
Right on the last day of all the running stuff, I pulled my quad so badly. I had a ridge line on my thigh. It was so, I mean, not to, I wish I had a great story, but I went to a sauna in Iceland and that was how I lost. I would eat 10,000 calories a minute and that's how I gained them. But I didn't really. It was just sort of you had to sort of fake it.
It's acting.
It's acting.
Paul, would you say that one of the stars of this movie is that Winnebago? Because, I mean, my God, it shows up so many times and you laugh about it, but at the same time, you're kind of scared, especially in the very beginning.
Sally.
Yeah, Sally. It's a great concept, the Winnebago. It is a character. Yeah, you see it several times. So it's its own character, and I love the mystery of it. And I love the mystery of, the license plate that says Sally, and you have to figure this stuff out. So this is stuff that I never thought of as I was reading the script, but that's the pleasure of working with H.P. Mendoza. He really has a great vision, and so that's part of it.
Yeah. I don't know if you knew this, Paul, but there's a running gag in the movie about the Winnebago, where the detective says RV and he goes, technically it's a Winnebago.
Yes.
We added that when we knew that you were going to play the part because we just wanted to say Winnebago.
Yeah, Winnebago in my Chicago accent. It's a Winnebago.
Technically it's a Winnebago.
That is so true because, it's like I have a 28-foot RV, but I don't sit there and say, that it's a Winnebago. But I mean, you really say, you put so much pride in that line.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
It's a great line.
So now, Grant, to be on Broadway and to make movies, that's two different forms of method. I mean, how do you determine which personality to bring to that stage? Because especially when you say you invested 30 days into this movie, that's like being live.
I mean, I got to choose who to be right now. You know, well, you know, they're two different mediums. Tell you, you actually, sorry, you know, when you asked me that question, I'm like, I really want to get back on stage. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Just that I do want to get back on stage, and experience the audience energy again. It's been a while. It's been a minute. I've been mostly making movies for the last maybe 20 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm going to put that out here right now.
Right.
Let's see. I'm going to say this to all of Charlotte and National. Put me on stage, please.
Paul, did they at least get to select some of your music to put in the movie?
Oh no, not my music.
You got an original song.
Yeah,
sing a song.
I sing at the end of the end of the movie. Well, that's HP. That's I'm just an artist as far as music goes, a vocalist. And H.P. Mendoza, like I say, it's like listening to an album, a classic album. That soundtrack for the Secret Art of Human Flight is a great soundtrack, and it's all H.P. Mendoza. He's the musical genius of that.
One of the things that I'm a daily writer, so I could really relate with the book that Paul that you sent out. That it's so important that people do learn from the notes that they take in the everyday world. But that book to me is also one of the stars.
Yeah, and the way they have Mealworm narrating, the kind of
yes,
the voice of the movie. So that's very interesting. I didn't even think about that until we started doing that. And it's very important to hear Mealworm do his own vocals for the book. It's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah. Now, this movie is going to be in movie theaters. Are we talking independent houses, or what are we talking about? Because I want listeners to really go in and experience this on that giant screen.
Oh, it's so important. You have to. Yeah, we're going to be playing art houses around the country. We also have a deal with AMC. So nice. AMC is going to be rolling us out across the country, which that was a great break, and really, really grateful for their support. So keep an eye on your local AMCs. We're sort of doing a rollout over the next month or two.
Okay.
So I'm not entirely sure when it's going to be there. It might be there now. I don't know.
The name of the movie, The Secret Art of Human Flight. Guys, you got to come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you.
Oh,
what are you doing tomorrow?
Yeah, right.
Calling your bluff,
making a movie with you. That's what I'm doing.
Hell yeah.
You guys be brilliant today, okay?
Thank you, sir. You do as well.